Hello everyone and welcome to the patch overview video for the Nemesis DLC patch, where we're gonna go over all the balance and mechanic changes that are coming with this patch. It's not the biggest one, as we just got the big patch with mod tools and the speed reworks and so on, and the fix of the sound bug 2 weeks ago. So this time around, next week, the patch won't be quite as significant, but there is still a decent amount of stuff in here. For example, Panzer Grenadiers getting their 6 men. Something that German, or especially West German players, have been asked for a long while, as what has been added was the rework of 4 weapon slots for infantry, and a couple of tanks as well. And that also went over all units and put their layout to the historical concept and fixed a couple of mistakes. Panzer Grenadiers being the best example. And then in the end, we're also gonna go over the new map, Stoneware, with a short overview over that map. So yeah, as we're already in the infantry tab, let's start with the infantry tab, and let's start with what changed for the Germans here. And yeah, Panzer Grenadiers, the Carl Gustav stays the same. The normal Panzer Grenadier gets its 6 men, so Panzer Grenadiers are a solid dismount, especially as they also get a sniper rifle here with the G3 A3 with Zielfernrohr, with scope, and that really gives it decent capabilities on the mid-range and a lot of stunning power with that as well. So Panzer Grenadiers now are a force to reckon with, and yeah, they're now cost the same as the Carl Gustav variant, which has 6 points as well. Difference being that the Carl Gustav doesn't have the sniper rifle, but has the solid AT weapon with the Carl Gustav, so that is a solid choice now. And then another unit that has been changed a bit is the Jäger. Jäger going down to 9 men, as you can see. So that has been reduced in that regard, as you will see in a couple of other big squads going down to historical numbers, as 11-man Jäger squadrons didn't really make sense historically. So I guess they counted the drivers of the truck or something like that with that. But yeah, 9-man is closer to reality, or on reality, and also makes it easier to balance these bigger squadrons. And the second Jäger here, that doesn't have any AT, that one got a G3 with Zielfernrohr as well, so this one has solid firepower against infantry now as well. So interesting changes here. And then we also have some other slight nerf to Heimatjäger, by the way, also being renamed to Heimatjäger, and they also now come with 9 men and a Carl Gustav. So that is interesting compared to the Jägers with Panzerfaust. They are quite an interesting unit now. Sure, they are not 11 hit points anymore, but the Carl Gustav is a nice upgrade. And more Carl Gustav, more stronger AT for Germany, but you have to bring them with these guys. The Reserve Pioneer 6 man, I believe that might have moved up from 5 as well, though I might be wrong there. And then the nerf has been to the Milans, the Milan 1 and Milan 2 going up 5 points for the Germans, so that is the change there. And yeah, outside of this, no 4th weapon slot added here, but we have smoke on the Waldmeier, and the Jägerführer also gets the G3 with Zielfernrohr. And yeah, here we get an MG3 for the Panzergrenadier Führer, so the leaders get their stuff as well. The infantry out of that stays the same. If we move over to the Americans and stay with NATO, and then we have a good couple of changes here as well. And we already saw a couple of these in the past, but most important is that air rifles and airbornes are both now 9-man squads. So those have been reduced slightly into 9-man. The air rifles, I believe, were already 9 before. Airborne now going down to 9. And then the mag rifles, that is more important, going down to 9-man squads as well. Mag Rifle Dragons and Mag Rifle Lore, 9-man squad as well, with 4 weapon slots, but 2 of those being machine guns. So they have an M2 4.9 light machine gun and a medium machine gun, but mech rifles aren't a big, strong plop unit anymore. And in general, NATO not having the insane manpower advantage on average over the baseline packed divisions that it had before, which is a nice change. And the light rifles here, the Berlin 1 going down to 9 points as well. We might still see change to the second one, as the second light rifle still has 10 hit points, which I believe is wrong, but yeah, that will change as well. So the light rifles here on 9 hit points. This one though with 3 light machine guns, so pretty good firepower there. And yeah, outside of that, with the commanders, we get a couple more 4 weapon slots as well. Ranger leaders with smoke and the RCL. So that I believe already was changed last patches ago, I think. Here we get smoke on the mech rifle leaders, smoke on the light rifle leaders. Green Beret leaders already were a beast before. Fire team leader getting a smoke next to the AT, and the airborne leader getting smoke as well, so good bit more prolific smoke here. Engineers still hit 10 hit points, so they are still chunky squads. The airborne fire teams here haven't changed much, so that is still the same. Military police here at 5, staying as well. And so all of this going around nicely. And then if we move over to the British and the UK, a couple of 4 weapon slots here as well, and smoke grenades on leaders. Mobile leader, power leader here with smoke, rifle leader with smoke. And that's it for the leaders. SAS we already got last patch. And then the changes here to the Milan as well. The RAF Berlins are still 12, are a really chunky squad now with a law as well. So 40 points, that's quite solid. The HSF here, 10 hit points. Gun group with 4 stays the same. Terrier gun group here stays the same. Berlin rifles stays the same as well. The Terrier getting a 4 weapon slot here with a law. Terrier AT group getting the Carl Gustav. So the Terriers, yeah, solid squad now as well. The rifles here at 8 hit points. Armored rifles at 7. Staying same as well. And then all of this staying the same too. But a couple more 4 weapon slots here around with a bit of AT. Law AT for the light units, as you can see. And then a good couple of smokes for these guys as well. Then we go to the French, which get a mix of 4 weapon slots as well. Ammo mobiles don't change, but the commanders here, good couple of them getting smoke. Commander grenadiers getting smoke. So really solid prolific smoke everywhere. Para commando that it gets smoke as well. And we have all these MGs. Commandos staying the same. Commando Air is the new unit. Gruppe Anti-Char and Paragruppe Anti-Char staying the same as well. So not super many changes. Milan nerf here as well. But yeah, there were a couple. The Reservist LRAC being a new unit also added to 5th here. With the LRAC 73 now. And we have then the 4 weapon slots over here, guys. And the Grenadier Voltigier FR F1 coming with an LRAC and a sniper rifle. With the normal Grenadier Voltigier staying the same, but the FRF1 gets the LRAC in the Berlin command deck now as well. So a solid bit more AT in round if you want to play Berlin, though your infantry is also a bit more expensive, which I'm not sure you really want that as Berlin command, but yeah, it's what you get. So you have another baseline infantry unit. The sniper rifle here is nice for these units, but the unit was already nice with sniper rifle beforehand, and you just brought a unit with a low 80 next to it. Now you might not be able to afford that, but it can defend itself. It's not as good against infantry, but it can do with tanks now as well. So yeah, chasseurs here and Grenadier Voltigier FR F1 still the same. Ammo there gonna be fixed. Yeah, this one just being 2 hit points. This one less than this one, but general loadout here similar. So really solid changes here in general. The Polish are still only the ones that we got here, so that hasn't changed. Will change when we get more Polish. And then if we go over to the GDR, we have smoke grenades for the leaders as well, with Mordschützenführer SVDs going around as well. Pioneerführer here, Popo-Führer, Wachschützenführer with smoke and Strela. That is pretty solid. Outside of that, the East Germans get especially changed with the Mordschützen SVD that got the SVD and the RPG, and the Strela that got the Strela and the RPG 18. The normal Mordschützen still has the better RPG, but you get a light RPG with the Mordschützen of all Couleur now, so that is pretty nice, and that really helps out these two units, as yes, they are 5 points more expensive, but they can now defend themselves against light armor on their own. You don't need to bring another Mordschützen next to them, and that is a really solid buff here. These guys already were in before. KDA and so on don't get anything, but that change to the Strela Mordschützen and the Mordschützen SVD, especially the SVD being around in a lot of division, is quite nice, as this is a really good fire support unit now with that change. Outside of that, no changes here in this tab, though there will be a couple in the recon tab for these nations as well once we get there. And then the Soviets, we go over with some Dezhaniki BMDs that we saw with 76 already getting the SVDs. So that is nice. The new units here getting that as well. Igla plus smoke for the Dezhan command. Afghansi getting RPG, so that is pretty solid for those guys as well. Coming in with SVD, 2 RPKs and the RPG. So good anti-infantry, good and or solid anti-tank. Smoke around here, coming around as well. SVD for these Dezhanikis as well. So decent bit more SVDs. These guys getting the SVD as well. So yeah, a lot more of those marksman rifles going around here. The Motostraki leader here getting smoke on top. Motostraki Comrade, really solid unit now as well. And then we move on where we see more leaders here with smoke. Spetsnaz Comrade, solid unit with the SVD, the RPG and the smoke now. The Spetsgruppe V we saw, the normal Spetsnaz, still staying the same, split up into an AT and an anti-infantry unit. So that hasn't changed, as those two units are set up individually. And down here, I don't believe much has changed. The Fagot has become more expensive because it does more suppression. I'm not sure if that was really necessary on all these ATGMs, but it is what happened. Yeah, outside of that, we are in the same spot here. All of these units moving around, and that is pretty nice. We go to the recon infantry. There are a couple here now with 4 weapon slots as well, though yeah, this Spetsnaz we saw already. Don't believe there's any for the Soviets. Oh, yeah, right. The Spetsgruppe already got its. Yeah, the Special Forces ones already got this last time. Exactly, and these two already are really strong. For the Germans, the Fernspeer gets a law. The Fallschirmjäger B1 gets more expensive, but the Green Berets on the other side get cheaper, so in general not a nerf for TKS in total numbers. Just a change there. Outside of that, SAK losing shock for some reason. I'm a bit disappointed in that. BGS gets an AT weapon, so that is a solid 35-point squad now. The Blinde RL 100 seems really strong. 18 penetration. Not sure if that is the correct weapon. They might have the RL 73 to get in the future, but currently they have the RL 100. So yeah, with 18 pen, this is actually a pretty scary squad. And yeah, that's the West Germans. For the East Germans, I don't believe there's much here either. Smoke for the Fallschirmjäger Sprengtaucher, right? That is a nice one. And then outside of that, Wachaufklärer going around. KSK we already saw before with the 4 weapon slots. That was one of the first units. The Mi-2014 PL, when we're already here, that one will get one more availability. So that is pretty nice. For the French, we see some new units, but the ones we got, the Power SAS getting smoke. That is the change there. Solid unit reservist declare is new, so that doesn't really help. And then for the British, we have the Airmobile Scouts getting a law. So they have a lot of firepower and they have a law. This is a nice buff to 2nd UK. This is a really strong unit now. The British in general getting a lot more law launchers all around, with the reserve forces and so with the Terriers getting it. And then yeah, for the Americans here, we see the LRS, but that was already last patch. And yeah, that's about it here with new weapons. And then for the Soviets, we already went over that. So yeah, these are the changes to the Recon tab. Let's move on to the Tank tab next. And here we have a change to IFVs first. BMP-1P with the change of suppression to the Fagot moved up again to 40 points. I'm not super happy with that, but it is what it is. Martyr's getting 5 points more expensive with the Milan suppression buff as well. I'm not super convinced that that was necessary, but it is what we got here. Yeah, we will see how that all plays out. The suppression buff was nice and all, but it wasn't that significant, especially not for the Milan. I'm sure it warrants the price increase. So it gives some more room for APCs down below. So we'll see how that all plays out. But in general, IFVs becoming a decent bit more expensive here. So that is one thing. Then for the ATGM vehicles, we have a couple others that got price nerfed as well. The Storm being the heaviest nerfed, going up to 85 points here. So that one got hit pretty hard in that regard. We see also some other smaller changes around the board, with Conquerors going up, with a couple of other vehicles going up in price as well, like the VBL Milans and the Mephisto going up to 80 points. So yeah, Hot going up to 75. That feels wrong. I think they're pretty identical in performance, so they should be identical in price. Just being a trade-off. Now I feel like you always take the MX-10 Hot. And yeah, I'm really not convinced that ATGM vehicles themselves needed the nerf like that. Like a couple of them, like I get that the Storm goes up, but 85 seems pretty high, for example. And I'm not sure if that just pushes them out, but we will see how that works. As the stealthy ones were pretty strong, but yeah, a couple of changes there around with those guys going up in price here. And yeah, then in the tank tab outside of that, for the Soviets, for the normal tanks, we have 4 weapons added to the T-62s. So yeah, those are the changes here. And then there have been a couple of light changes to AA guns in the stats for the barrel ones, but yeah, a couple of stabilizer changes and so on. But more importantly, towed ones got cheaper now. So the towed pivot now is 50 points. So the price increase was reverted, and sometimes even more than that here. So the ZSUs here for 30, 35 points and so on. If we go to the French, he's going up at 25 and 30 points now. The German ones here, 25, 25, and so on. So the towed artillery AA pieces, especially big here for Rügener, going down in price. And for Rügener, more importantly, Krug going back to 155 points. Now that it costs a lot of supply to fight the missiles, yeah, this thing is balanced in that regard. So yeah, 155 points it is again for the Krug, and that is really helpful for the Krug and really helpful for Rügener, giving them an extra 35 points to move around and get something else. And that is a decent amount here. So yeah, these guys moving around like that. And yeah, these guys getting reduced in price. That is all pretty neat. So yeah, those changes happen over there. And then if we have a look at aircraft, there have been a couple of price changes and nerfs here as well. We start with the East Germans, the clusters, and the HE MiG-21 getting more expensive. So these are a bit less spammable than before. Still should be solid planes, but they're not as great as they once had been. And then if we have a look at the Soviets, there have been a good amount of changes here. MiG-25 HE price increase to 230. MiG-27 LGB going up in price. Let me find that here for a second. Where's the LGB MiG-27? That one goes up in price. The LGB one going up to 300. And Su-24s going up in price as well, especially. MiG-27 HE and ATs going down in availability as well. The MiG-27M that just got buffed. So yeah, this one going back down in availability to 2. Su-24s, ATs going up in price, and SEAT going up in price quite significantly. So Su-24s being nerfed across the board after the increase in performance in turn radius. So yeah, they have been put back into their place here. SEAT now 260 and 275 points. So it's solid nerf there. On the other side, we see F111s going up in price as well. On the American side, with the F111s, LGBs going up in price. The HE one goes down in price actually. That one still turns terribly and it has the terrible bomb load. But it should be fixed with its drop pattern instead of price. You still shouldn't bring that, and the idea is to going up in price, 260 to 270 and 245 to 260. So solid price nerf there. The F4F bombers in the German tree going up 5 points from 270 to 275. And French Mirages, the Napalm one going up from 215 to 240. And the F1C 200, the fighter of the French, going up in price to 200. So fitting there as well. Though I'm not really sure if this is a real 200 point plane, but it has 20 ECM, it's pretty fast, so I guess so. But yeah, 200 points now for these guys. So this is another nerfed plane here. So yeah, those are the general balance patches here. And there are a couple more small things in between that I might have missed, but that is the gist of it. And yeah, especially the infantry reworks gonna be impactful. A decent bit more AT. The smoke is gonna be amazing. I'm really looking forward to smoking more on the battlefield. Panzergrenadier changes are nice, but with the Marder price increase, I'm not sure how happy the Germans will be about that. Yeah, the reduction of mech rifles to 9-man squads is pretty important as well. They get one more availability per card on base veterancy, so they get a bit compensated there. But in general, you won't get as many big squadrons just pushing you down when you play against the Americans as you got before. So yeah, let's move on to the map. And then finally we have the new map, Stoneware, which is a sizable 3v3 map that has a couple of interesting areas here. Mid-open area in the middle of it's pretty solid for tank play here, with a couple of towns in there as well, a couple of smaller villages here that we got. Small lake over here, then a couple more villages, a wood camp on the side. It has 4 middle zones and 4 rear zones on each side. That's how it gets to 24 points. And then we have the stone or clay pit over here that is mostly out of service, it seems like, as it starts to be flooded already. There we have some pump station and so on around it as well, which is pretty nice. That all shows that, yeah, this is potentially still in service, or at least was in service, and now, yeah, gets retrofitted there. Might be in flooding, might be outside of flooding in the 80s, still pumping out the water. But yeah, clay pit heats and stone pits here going on, and you can fight around these guys as well. And then a bit of wooden area here on this flank. So a good balanced map. not super fancy, but it's nice to see more maps, and it's in solid new landmark here as well, and that differentiates it and makes it unique compared to other maps. So that is pretty cool as well. And yep, this is the final map. And yep, this is it with the patch. So a decent amount of new content coming for our way, guys. And if you don't want to miss us testing out those new contents and so on, consider leaving a follow down below. And see you next time, guys. Bye bye, and have a great